Welcome to Theory of Knowledge Talks, where we explore the questions that make us question everything. I am Charles Vini Unjimai.
I am Lazarus Reyes Castro.
I'm Ronald Beato Piero.
I'm like Ronald Petit.
I am Arun Kujur.
And today's episode is about a deceptively simple idea. Why is knowing the hardest thing to know? Philosophers like Socrates claim that the true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. Descartes doubted everything until he reached, I think, therefore I am. Theory of knowledge taught us that knowledge is not just about the facts, it's about how we justify them, how we perceive them, and how we question them. When truth feels real, even when it is not. In our age of infinite information, why does knowledge feel so certain, yet it proves so fragile? And so, we are going to explore how perception, memory, and culture shape what we think we know. From our optical illusions to moral certainty, as they unpack how easily truth can betray us and why doubt is often the beginning of wisdom. And so we begin the moment of doubt.
Have you ever had a moment when you suddenly realized you might have been completely wrong? That sting in the mind where the flow of certainty just disappears.
Oh, all the time. Like when I spent 10 minutes tearing my room apart for my phone, only to find it charging right next to me. My brain insists it was in my bag. The confidence is total and totally wrong.
I once argued with my sister for years about a childhood trip we took. I saw we went to Kenya. She said Nigeria. Then we found an old photo, Nigerian flags everywhere. My memory was not lying, but it was not telling the truth either.
That gap between belief and reality, between what we think we know and what is, that is where real knowledge begins. Science lives in that tension.
Where certainty cracks, curiosity slips in. The unknown is not empty, it's alive.
Welcome to the Knowledge Paradox. Today's episode, The Illusion of Knowing.
And there is seeing is not believing.
Our senses feel like they never lie. What we see, we believe. But the moment we start testing them, the crack shows. Think of optical illusions, those spinning waves that seem to move, though they are still. Our brains are feeling in the motion.
Exactly. The brain is a prediction machine. It's not passively receiving reality. It's constantly guessing what reality should look like and updating that guess every millisecond. That's why the dress went viral. Some people's brains assumed it was in shadow, others thought it was in bright light.
It is wild to think two people can look at the same image and literally see different colors. It is like a perfect metaphor for how we experience truth. We are all looking at the same data, but our minds tint it differently.
Perception is not a window, it is a mirror. What we perceive is partly reflection, our expectations, fears, and stories shaping what we see.
That's why the artists paint feelings instead of facts. When March painted, mm, He was not painting a person, he was painting society itself. Something emotion is a truer truth than sight.
So, if any, if even our eyes cannot be trusted, what's left to trust?
The willingness to question. Knowledge does not begin with answers. It begins with doubt and with the courage to sit in it.
But what about memory, bias, and belief?
I used to tell this touching story about my grandfather during the war, how he hid a loaf of bread for a starving child. Years later, my uncle told me that story came from a movie we watched together. I do observed it as my own memory.
So your brain was like, yeah, we will just take that narrative. Looks good. Memory is such a terrible activist.
That is what neuroscience confirms. Memory is not a file you pull up, it's a reconstruction. Every time you recall something, your brain rewires it, blending old information with the new emotion. So, the act of remembering changes the memory itself.
Which means knowledge is never still. It is like a river, always flowing, shaped by what we believe and what we have experienced since.
And those distortions tell us who we are now. When you remember your grandfather's story, Brother Arun, it is not deceit, it is your present self-writing meaning.
That makes me feel little better. Maybe truth is not about accuracy, but about the emotional truth we need at the time.
But is it not that dangerous too? Like when whole groups rewrite history to fit their beliefs?
That's confirmation bias in action. Because the more we are invested in a belief, the more our brains defend it. Not by seeking truth, but by rejecting anything that challenges it.
So maybe wisdom is less about holding beliefs and more about holding them lightly.
So, how can that connect or reconcile with the culture of truth?
In science, truth means what is testable and replicable. If someone anywhere can reproduce your result, then it holds until a better test disproves it.
In art, truth is what resonates emotionally. You can't measure it in a lab, but you feel it in your chest.
Well, in culture, truth is the story a community agrees to share through traditions, rituals, even myths, like how different societies explain thunder as gods, spirits, or electricity. All are truths within their context.
Theory of knowledge reminds us truth is contextual. Language, power, and perspective decide what counts as real. The truth of a scientist, a poet, and a politician rarely align, yet each feels absolute within its field.
So, when we say that's true, maybe we are really saying that's true for me right now.
And art reminds us that truth can be multiple. Contradictions can still be beautiful.
The danger is not in having different truths, it is when we forget that they are different.
And there is also the mirror test now. Here is today's challenge. find one thing you are completely certain about.
Then ask yourself, why do I believe it? How do I know it's true? What will it take to change my mind?
If your answer is nothing, that is not knowledge, that is faith pretending to be fact.
And that's where your journey toward real knowledge begins.
Absolutely. Because in the end, knowing is not about having the truth, it's about running how to see.